This is a video response to Dante1Savage's The Fortune of the Name Game and some TNA. Some interesting points here overall. I think one of your big things that you're flawed with in your reasoning, Mr. Savage, is the idea that Vince Russo does every story in TNA and has complete control over everything. Our issue with that is because he is not the booker. What he does is he writes the stories, these huge drawn-out scripts. Okay, now keep in mind I've never read any of these. I don't know if they're good or not. You know, sometimes I can look at the stories and just go, that's ridiculous. But the thing is, his stuff is edited and chopped down by Eric Bischoff and other members of the booking committee. Now, keep in mind, Russo has some say in who gets pushed by his creative influence. However, his big thing is he writes. That's what he does. He writes. And then they take that and they edit it down. Not everything, story-wise, in TNA is Russo's fault. When it comes to names, I want to touch on some of your suggestions. I do think it's good to keep it simple. I mean, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. But the thing is, there are some names that are, longer that could get over based on talent alone. One that comes to mind right off the bat is Christopher Daniels. And he even had a long nickname too, the Fallen Angel. I think as long as there's some kind of hook in the name, something that's easy to remember, something that's different from other things, and the Fallen Angel gimmick was a big part of it for him. As long as there's that hook, I think people can relate, and they'll just simply shorten the name when they want to say his name, like Daniels or Fallen Angel. They shortened it, and obviously TNA changed it to Daniels later on. Now, that might have been part of the thing as marketing purposes, but one of the main, from what I understand, is that they want to own these names so that not only can they not work for another company under that name if they lose them, but also they have more liberty to put out merchandise and make more money off of the name. When it comes to the name Fortune, I personally like it for the fact that it's not the new Four Horsemen. If only that. We'll see what happens, see if they even keep 4 people in it. I don't know. We're just going to have to see what comes in the next couple weeks. This past week was actually really good, and I understand this was an older video, and I apologize for bringing up old topics, but I felt like I needed to get this one out there. The last episode, there was a lot of good wrestling, and as long as there's good wrestling, you're gonna probably have some okay stories involved. I cannot remember the last time where the wrestlers got into the matches and enjoyed it a lot, but the angle was terrible. Now, you could bring up the Sting angle, Bound for Glory 2007, but a lot of people were just mad because that was not necessary. Was it a bad angle? I don't think so much, because you sit there and go, well, why wasn't he arrested for what happened to Sting? Well, because Sting wanted him in the ring. He wanted to deal with him his way, and that's characteristic of Sting throughout the years. So those are my opinions. But I do agree with you on a lot of things. We need to keep those names simple, keep everything simple that way. And I think TNA really needs to stop aborting their storylines halfway through because they're not getting over. That being said, they also don't need to be doing storylines that aren't getting over and drag them on for a year, which is something that they did with Robert Roode before Beer Money, if you remember, with the Eric Young storyline and a few other things. I admit, I was happy when it was over. I was excited to see Eric bust out of his shell, but it was just because there was so much dragged on and on and on, not so much that I cared about Eric Young. Well, anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. Good to meet you, by the way. I've been looking for people to talk to on these subjects, and please subscribe back. I've subscribed to you. I'll see you, Mr. Savage, and anyone else watching. Shalom.